Are you waiting for business funding to come to you, or are you going to the business funding? Hi, this is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. Welcome in. I want to jump right into things and say, are you that person who is waiting for a business loan, a cash advance, business credit, credit lines, whatever that is, to land in your lap? Magically, it just falls from the sky and just happens to drop right there in your lap, and you go, yes, I finally have what I want? Or are you going to be that business owner who says, what is actually out there? How do I educate myself on each topic? Can I get 0% interest for 6 to 18 months? Can I get a personal/startup loan? What does it take to qualify? What are the necessary steps for me to have in order for me to qualify for a business/startup loan, personal loan? Am I going to be sitting wayside on the couch day in and day out, wondering if I finally will get approved? And have I done what I need to do to get myself in front of the right lender? Or will you finally take the step to say, what do I have to have prepared to get that funding? That's what's most important. And at any point, since I'm streaming now live, please leave me a comment. Let me know where you are tuning in from. Give me a hashtag live, maybe hashtag replay if I have uploaded this later onto the YouTube channel. Now, I'm a business loan broker expert, and I've helped out a lot of businesses, not only with business funding, but readjusting themselves accordingly on a personal human level to who you need to become. What's your why for getting business funding? What's your why for who you are and what you do? To who do you need to become in your business to then become that person who receives that funding and moves forward longer term and is being able to structurally have their business set up appropriately so it's cash flowing for themselves. They're using business credit, not all personal credit. They're using for business credit underneath their business, lines of credit, unsecured term loans, SBA loans, everything far in between. But the focus of this video, and I'm going to keep it short and I'm going to open up to discussions in a moment. Again, are you going to wait? Are you going to do this? You're sitting on your couch one night watching Family Feud. I'm sure you guys are all having a laugh about things. And while you do show it outward exteriorly, interiorly, you're still feeling like you're just lost. You feel very tense. It almost feels like a suffocating feeling. When I go to bed tonight, will I have this recurring nightmare? Will I wake up in the morning wondering, am I going to have these elusive thoughts again? Or will you be that person who finally says, hey, I'm going to take a chance on this person and see if they can pair me up with the right lender, instead of saying, I'll wake up in the morning, go through my emails, get frustrated, tell people I'm not interested or in themselves without replying. And then you see all of these emails in your inbox just flooding you. Hey, you've been pre-approved, come back and apply. Or hey, we got your information. Just submit us 3 months of bank statements, a copy of your driver's license, and a voided check. And then we'll deposit the money straight the same day or the next day. And you're wondering to yourself, who? Are they trustworthy and reliable? I don't remember ever applying to them. How did they get my information? But luckily for you, you have somebody like myself who's worked with every industry, and you can finally turn to somebody who knows their stuff, who won't overpromise and underdeliver for you. When somebody else tells you, yeah, I can get you a payment like this, and I can get it set up for you this way, when you go to the application, it turns out that wasn't it. But they were baiting and switching you, or they just didn't know their stuff. But now you're attached to them. And so somebody like myself who's trying to help you now is giving you everything they can, no matter what, because you mean that much to me. As a person first, business second. I always remember people for who they are as well as in their business. But when I look back and I say, who's John? Who is Sally? Oh, of course I remember them, not only because of their business, but I truly remember them because that day that I had a call with them, they were waiting in line to pick up a sandwich, or they were at school waiting outside in the parking lot to pick up their kids on a hot day and they had the air conditioner blowing and they wish they wouldn't have worn jeans, and it's just kind of a little funny situation. Those are the things that we remember, don't we? The stories. So in that same category, sorry, I have the window here. What is your story? Will you be continuously fabricating a story and lying to yourself and thinking that your ego, your frustration, your stubbornness, if that's what's getting in the way of getting a business loan, any kind of financing, is that what is going to turn you into continuously doing that and going down that same route? Or will you finally find that road when you come through what do you call them, the crosswalks, or you call them where they all merge, and you see that other road? Will you take the one on the left? Will you take the one on the right? You've been down the one on the right. Now it's time for me to go to the one on the left. It's as simple as that. And you won't always know because you don't have somebody who's going to show you that path. But now you have somebody like myself who can. Now let me come over here to the comments. And again, if you're watching this here on TikTok, please feel free to go over to the bio, submit the questionnaire form. There's a lot of resources in there. Hopefully the link works. Sometimes TikTok doesn't show it. YouTube, make sure you go ahead and go in the description. You'll see the links. The questionnaire form is what I would start off with, and I can get you a very personalized and customized email response on your best funding option and options. We see that AZ's in there, but no more acknowledgement to them. What do you need to get started? Good question. So there are a variety of things. Like I just mentioned, you can go to the questionnaire. Have you submitted that yet? So when you go get business funding, it just depends on the service. Like I'm doing a lot of everything right now. Personal/startup loans, unsecured term loans, secured line of credits, unsecured lines of credits, merchant cash advances, equipment loans, everything far in between, SBA loans, especially those, but a lot more of them. And you'll want to fill out that questionnaire so I can get to see a bird's eye view, and I can analyze and evaluate. And when that happens, I will be able to respond back via email on your best funding option and options. And then the very first one usually is the one you want to get started with. A lot of the times with fintech companies and lenders, you'll see an application link, so you can click that. Very safe and secure. I'll show you how you can submit the documentation. Do I need it to myself? Can you upload it online to our safe and secure portal? So that's what I would do to begin with. Credit score. For the 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, it just depends on the business credit card you are applying to. I can't say it is going to need to be a 680. Yes, shoot for 680. Better yet, a 700 plus. But with personal/startup loans, I just made a video on that I'll be releasing, if not this week, next week, hopefully. You should be shooting for at least a 700, if not a 680, with low debt to income ratio and the approval odds of certain situations. But it just depends. You can get in with a 500 with a merchant cash advance. Just know that the rates are going to be high because you're high risk. Low to no collateral, higher risk. That's what happens when you do non-collateralized financing. Even if you have the strongest cash flow and it's based on revenue, you have the strongest credit. Let's say, for example, you do $300,000 a month consistently. You're not even fluctuating. In fact, you're increasing on your latest month. And you have a 750 plus FICO, and it's been there for a good amount of time in your history. Oh, okay. You've had 20, 30 years in business. Psh, amazing. You're going to get better rates, especially with an advance, a factor rate, maybe between 1.19 to 1.3. You might get a 1.21, 1.19. And that's, in a case, you can say that's interest of 19 to 20%. People go, whoa, what? But you're taking this financing and you're taking it and you're growing and expanding your business. So you're looking at your return on the investment. What is your short-term and your long-term play at this? Is it good debt? Is it bad debt? I'm just trying to survive. How does that work? Like, okay, so you're wanting to take $100,000 to pay off a lot of debt, and you're paying back $119,000 or so in 12 months or whatever that is. Will you be able to be cash flow positive by then? I don't want to have to give you something that doesn't make sense. Understood. Yes, YouTube is one. Another one is through my link. And then you can find it on my blog. There are various ways to find my information. And I appreciate you. Thank you for being in here too. I do see a lot of familiar faces. Love it. Thanks for being here. I won't be here too long. I got a lot of family that we're going to go over to the bowling alley. I love bowling. I haven't been doing it for some time, but whenever I get a chance to. That stuff is fun for me. And there'll be like an arcade center. It's pretty cool. Should be going there later. But yeah, you can go to the YouTube channel and start. But the bio, link click, full of resources. First one's the best one, and then go there. I'm a very systems oriented person, guys. So like, I built my business. Like, I didn't have somebody that said, "Hey, do this." Like, I know what's out there, but in the true sense that somebody like showed me like step by step, I wouldn't say 100%. Like, I learned it and through trials and errors. But did I have to completely? No, not 100%. But I don't believe you should be paying for stuff in this industry like the way they think they should to train me to do this kind of stuff. But I've been in it for so long, and I know it very well. I know the big names I've been associated with, and so I spent a lot of time in this market, and I understand it very, 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 very well with the lenders and underwriters. And through trial and error, you learn these things, and then you appropriate yourself with the right events, the right culture, the right atmosphere and environment. How are you doing? You've been hearing in the news and such that credit is drying up. What can you see? Good question. Yeah, I've been seeing similar things. Now, what do you mean in terms of credit drying up? Like, you have to associate credit with service. So when you're looking at the credit, and if we're looking at business financing, yes, personal credit you use to leverage getting business financing. So at what level is it drying up? That's the better question to ask. Or say, hey, I see that credit is drying up, but where? Credit is still a huge factor. And in terms of how is it drying up, you can be more specific about it. But the banks, yes, the banks, how they're issuing, and they're actually tightening more up and having a higher credit, and your utilization even being lower. So making sure you have very less debt to income ratio. Even more is making sure you have the right entity and who they lend to and how they lend to. LLC, C Corp, S Corps, the right structure, and they won't lend to anything really outside of that. It's really hard for them to want to do so. It's not necessarily drying up in terms of is it going away, but it's becoming less of an impact when you're looking at revenue-based financing. What you can't get at the bank, but you can get alternatively, it's becoming less of a factor because your cash flow is more of important to look at, especially if it is in a line of credit. Lines of credit are becoming a little bit more cash flow intensive than they are credit, because they're not issuing credit lines anymore to those of you who are doing at a minimum of 10 to 15,000. They want to see you doing like upwards of 300 to 500. I would say a better basis points to get even in the 100,000 range is to be doing way above 700 to 800,000 in annual gross revenue. But if you wanted to clarify a little bit more for that, I hope I covered that in terms of that credit is drying up. And that can mean a variety of things. And again, like I said, how you disassociate it and how you associate it with different services. I can go into each and every one of them very in depth, but we'd be here for hours. I can start off with equipment. Then I can go, equipment, credit worthiness. No matter what, at the end of the day, yes, you can leverage business credit. It'll be helpful to have business credit, especially for equipment financing. Do you have to necessarily have it? Not 100%. Just have something. And it also helps report to the business credit bureau. So I said this, and I'll be releasing this video that I already made. Why is business credit important? Do you need to have business credit for unsecured term loans, lines of credit, through private lenders? No, not necessarily. Does it help? Of course. It maximizes your odds of getting more. It's that whole notion of I use personal credit to get business credit cards. So what are my limits here? What is my debt to income ratio? What am I doing? How much can I get approved for a business credit card? Boom. And then when I'm looking at business credit with the lenders and the underwriters, we're looking at business credit, we're looking at personal credit. And we're looking at each and every one of them differently. What's your DTI? What's your credit worthiness? We can associate the two together and not necessarily look at liquid business credit. Now, I don't want to lose you guys in this, and I can go deeper into each segment, but I'm not doing that. Hi, Busy. How are you doing? Correct. Appreciate you saying that, and thanks for being here. They are not lending as much as they used to. You are correct, on the ball, on the money. I've been saying this for a long time now, but even more now than ever, it's more telling. Like, if you didn't see it a month ago, now you see it. And you don't necessarily have to be a client who goes into the bank. You can hear it from someone else. But when you go, you'll really see it. And so they're not lending as much because they don't have so much in the quote unquote reserve tank to gift or give any in every single business owner and every single business industry, because they need to allocate their funds. Like right now, every private lender, they need to move their money as fast as possible. And yeah, they may offer you more, or they may offer you a better chance of getting financing as opposed to a bank. And because they work with those industries. So you have lenders who are like in the automotive, you have people who are in the trucking, those who are in construction, that I could just say, hey, I have Busy King here who's in the construction. Let's just say that, for example. And these are his details. This is what he can supply with. He's very serious about doing this. I have already discussed with him the potential rates, how it's not about rates. It's about trying to get a longer term benefits exceeding the repayment, come back and get more. That's how you work. And then you get to lessen your rates. Unsecured term loans are no different. Lines of credit are no different. You have to work sometimes backwards to get in front. That's how it works. And every business owner, like right now, I'm working with a person who's getting an approval between 75 to 100,000 in a line of credit. Now, that's not even enough for them, but that's not even the point. If you don't have a line of credit, or if you already did, what you do is say, hey, if I had this, I don't have to really use it. I can use it for a rainy day or whatever I need to. I'm not having to pay it in a specific time frame. So it's better for me to have it than not. Don't be that business owner who says, well, I didn't get enough. And now if it's a lump sum and you can't justify using those funds and paying it back in the time you were given because of the cash flow issues, you're not cash flow positive or you won't be, I will never tell you yes to take it. If you get an offer, I will communicate with you via email, perhaps a phone call. Did you have time to look over the offer you were given? I'll go over the numbers with you. You may be disappointed, and I know that's the case because it happens all the time. And I not necessarily will dismiss the amount you're getting or the rates, and I won't say you're not wrong. But again, we spoke about this before, that are you taking that $50,000? What are you doing with it? Just remember what you needed $50,000 for. You needed to open up a new shop. I know that's not a lot for a lot of people. $50,000 open up a new shop, right? You needed some for inventory. You're going to put this in play for the next month. You'll be able to sell this off your shelves, and then you'll have to come back and get more inventory financing, or you'll do it a separate way. And then you needed a repair for a truck. So you go, okay, so I'm going to get that truck back out on the road. That inventory is going to sell in less than a month or two. I was only given 8 months. I really wanted 12 months. I couldn't qualify for that. I couldn't even get an express SBA 7A loan or something else. Well, yeah, I'm hoping that my next time I use financing again, I can get longer than an 8-month term. Perhaps, yes, you can this time because you're qualified to. You've been working with us in the relationship with the best lender and the best team. You have myself by your side. So I don't leave you. I'm going to be here just checking in on you from time to time. Hey, how are you doing? How's your business? Have you used your money to great effect? Have you not? So don't be dismissive of it, and don't be that business owner who takes on bad debt. Don't do that. A lot of this money that can be intermediate to higher cost, it's because you're a higher risk and the collateral isn't involved for a lot of them, and the lender's assuming 110% of the risk. So be appreciative of what they are giving you. I'm not saying you're not. Just be appreciative of that. Well, I saw that some articles and some, I'd like to know from where outlets, but they don't go that deep into it, like not lending. Well, yeah, it goes back to the thing that I said, right, with the services. If we're looking at a merchant cash advance, you might have high debt to income ratio, you might have higher credit utilization that might not approve you for an unsecured term loan with a monthly lender and even a weekly lender. They look at other factors too that I'm not going to get too specific on, but we can get into that later. That's where they won't necessarily weigh your personal credit as heavy, but you do need to submit that so we know, like, how are you able to, like, what other way are we not able to see, like, can you manage your payments? Your personal credit is more of a morality and a characteristic thing than it is everything else. Like, how you make your payments and everything, that's just a symptom. The diagnosis is you, your habits, your routines, and it shows who you are ultimately. So personal credit will always be a factor. There are other ones where there's no personal credit checks if you're looking at secured financing. But again, it's minimal when it comes to like those advances, and it comes to, I wouldn't even say, it's really on an advanced level. That's where we look at it. And if there's no credit check programs out there, then yeah, that's different. But at the end of the day, you're still leveraging your personal credit. And what's bigger looked at, it's your revenue. So again, that's dependent on your service. It's everybody's different. So I'm going to leave this open again for everybody. If anybody has any questions, I'll get going in about 1 to 2 minutes before everybody starts arriving and flocking in here. And I don't have my office room at this time. I can't use it. So feel free, and I will get going. One more thing I want to leave you guys with before I answer that. I have created the Business Funding Mastery Academy course. It is still for free. Not sure how long I will leave it open to, but it is an A to Z funding course that will, again, show you what I said in the beginning, who you need to become for that person who needs to become that person in their business, who then, therefore, gets the funding, and then who do they become thereafter. So it's an A to Z, shows you step by step my processes, who I am, more of my story, my background. I go into the meat and the potatoes, which are the services, and then I go into the conclusion steps. So Uber drivers, a very, I don't know if I should use the word notorious. When I use that word, I never use it lightly, and it shouldn't be. But it is a very, I guess, volatile, because so many Uber drivers out there, and and even in this kind of economy especially, but it's hard for them to get funding. Now, it is more harder to get an SBA like 7A loan, 504 loan. I'm not saying in terms of like EIDL related and a few other ones, but when I'm speaking to like SBA 7A/504 and some of these other loans, even microloans for startups for Uber drivers can be difficult because of how they're classified. And the actual, long-term legitimacy of that position. And I've seen it so many times with grants where people do get declined for them. And it's not necessarily your fault. But yes, it is difficult to get approved for them. What the SBA, a lot of the times they like to look for, especially these 7A loans. Yeah, sole proprietors, but LLCs, more so S Corp, C Corps. And if you have anything that's going underneath your business, you have your business credit established. That's what ultimately is like the one deciding factor why business owners do get declined for the majority. And there's a lot of different other reasons. But there are alternatives out there. Don't get me wrong. You have self-employed 1099 gig worker funding. I do a lot of those deals. And I can connect you with my team of underwriters and lender. And if that's something you're interested in, which a lot of people, like, if I can go into my emails right now that I'm helping out a lot of Uber, Lyft drivers, grocery delivery. There is a self-employed 1099 gig worker financing. Now, just know that you don't get approved for as much. You only get between 20 to 25% of usually your lowest monthly revenue in the last 3 months, or your average monthly sales in the last 3 months. We can do 2. We can weigh the 2, see where we fit. And then the amount of time, it could be like 8 weeks, 10 weeks, maybe 10 to 12 weeks at most. So you're not getting a lot. You're repaying those in like 1 to 2 or so months. And you have to weigh the pros and cons. If you get up to 5,000 only, you should be doing at least 3,000 a month. I won't ask you your revenue, but like I said the other day to a business owner, he has he's getting his business checking account hopefully today. He said he was supposed to get it soon, but he's doing like over 25,000 a month. He's doing well over 500,000 a year. And this year, what he was telling me he was getting at. But the concern with him is he doesn't have a business checking account. So if you have a personal account as an Uber driver, which is usually the case, then yes, that would apply for you as well. And at that point, this is where we come back to the credit check on the personal side. It's not a factor, not so much looked upon when getting that type of financing. Weekly repayments, it's more lenient, and we understand your circumstances. So it's not like personal credit will decline you for that necessarily. That's not what we look at primarily. And so it's revenue. But that's what happens Just be more prepared to understand every service, and that's why I have all this content that I've released and a lot more on the YouTube channel, like a lot more specifically I go into, and keep up to date. So I'm gonna leave it at that, I believe. So in the bio, if you click the link, you can go ahead and see all the resources in there, and then get a better sense of even who I am. I might put I haven't done it yet, but I might put my story as one of those links. Because for me, I want you to make that connection with me. And I don't say that to pressure you to. Naturally, as I would like to with yourself, I don't ever push anything. And so I'm an introverted person. It's your advantage. It's actually your unfair advantage that you get to work with me. I'm very honest. Because think about it. Would you rather work with somebody who's very sales oriented, speaks a lot, maybe rambles over their words, speaks so quickly? Yes, I have different languages, but I slow things down to a level where even people go, why do you speak so slow sometimes? Because I want you to hear my tonality. I want you to know that this is me, that what I'm sharing with you is of your best interest, and that I will break it down for you in simple layman terms. I won't give you anything extra vocabulary and so forth. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. And I will look out for it. Who am I speaking with to, by the way? I know I see a username. Actually, I can look at the form right now as you have submitted it. Let me look over here. I see another one that came in. And you don't have to say it. Just 1 second. This was sent in 2 minutes ago. And am I speaking with Henry? Yes, before I saw you put that there. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate you, man. I really do. I don't just say that. I really do mean it. I will take time to look over. I've already seen parts of it just by taking a good glance on it before even asking for bank statements. With bank statements, that definitely helps me even pre-underwrite a file even more. But with what you've provided with me, and I love what you put, like this is a clear example. I'm going to end the video, I think, after this. I love it, man. You just put like, oh my, like the time in business. 2 years plus 2 months. Like, I know maybe that wasn't something I would have wanted me to say there, but I just wanted to make sure when people specify their time in business, don't put the name of your business. I don't want that. It's clear. I want, what is it number wise? Is it 0? Put 0. Is it years? Is it followed by months? Is it a Y for months? Is it an M for months? That's awesome. Appreciate you for doing that, being specific. You didn't even have to put the months part after that. So you feel like you're behind on this? And what would you say right now is your biggest problem that you are facing in your business? I do see your credit level. I won't say that. Whether it is good or bad, that goes for anybody. This is protected. Business credit, I know what you put there. Awesome. Ownership percentage, good, because that tells me a lot of how many owners and what we need to look at, what percentage-wise. Because if you're 50-50, like I have another business owner who has a high credit personally, but their other business owner may not have that. So yeah, I do see your lowest monthly revenue. I do see your average. I do see the annual highest, what you need the funds for. I mean, we can get more specific into that. Existing. So let me ask you, do you have in advance? Do you have an EIDL loan? What is that business loan advance that you currently have? Yeah, okay. So you have one position or how many positions? So what I need to know is how many advances you have, and I might put an extra field for that so I can make it easier so we don't have to go back and forth and this has to take phone calls or all that. I can limit that. But existing business loan / advance, you know, I'd have to know how many positions, what's the balance remaining, how much of the balance have you paid off? Because at what you're doing, it tells me a lot. So without those kind of numbers, the balances you have. I mean, what you're looking for, you may not even get that amount just looking at what you put down on revenue. That I already know. But when we factor in what positions, what balances, then I will look at, if I could get you between 75 to 200% of your lowest month, and what would it be more realistically considered you having multiple advances, or have they been completely paid off? If you're looking for a line of credit, that's not going to work. You have, not necessarily because of the revenue, but it's more of a credit thing. So you'd have to get that up. And there might be other underlying issues. Maybe you've tried it in the past. I'd have to know what that is, what you've done. But I could already see that it won't happen necessarily, not only because of the credit part, but being over leveraged. Maybe there's a past in credit. And the other issue here, you're in transportation. So if you're doing any form of logistics / trucking, that industry at a revenue basis, if we're talking, and this goes for anybody, if we're talking at a minimum revenue, minimum personal credit, you're not getting in. And they're going to weigh credit heavier. So you can get in with like 600, even 550, but they want to see upwards of 650, 660. It's just personal credit. It's just they're weighing that heavier, like a personal loan, but a little bit more lenient. So at what I'm currently looking at, a credit line, but you're going to have to get your credit score to a 680 plus. And I don't know if you're willing to work with me on that, because most people say one thing and they do another. I see a lot of pretenders in this space, and a lot of people who do take action. I'm not saying you're the pretender. I'm just saying a lot of people do, and I don't have my energy and time wasted. And so over here, just knowing that will help. And knowing that you have to get a better credit for lines of credit, yeah. The good thing is this. Like, I'm not the first one telling you this. I'm sure that if you've applied for an advance, you've already tried to apply for lines of credit for credit and eligibility reasons. And then there's some stuff that I can't share from the underwriters, but that I know about too. But I can't share and disclose all that. They may be able to, but I can't always give you that. I can always see reports if you allowed me to, but is this going to take like a personal credit repair? Or is this going to be a situation where your credit is doing this and you are where you are now, but if you make payments, you'll say, hey, I'll get my credit score bumped up to this amount, and then what would it look like? But also at the transportation / logistics / trucking, doing the minimum revenue doesn't really get people in the door. Especially when the lump sum, like if you're in trucking, man, to get a term loan, you better be doing close to 75 to 85,000 a month to get approved for a lump sum. And that's even between 1 to 2 years. That's what we're looking at. 1 to 2 years at a monthly repayment. No fluctuating 75, then 60, then 50. No, I'm saying 75 to 85,000 plus, and consistently and above, and closer to 700 to 800,000 in annual gross revenue. Yes, I've done plenty of SBA acquisition loans. Sometimes I don't know why I say acquisition. Acquisition loans. Yeah, I get plenty of those every day. Now, whether they go through or not, that's another question. So I just have to filter out, and I work with people individually per case. And I know, is this going to be a seller financing situation? Can they get a down payment? How will they get that down payment? They can explain to me, I have this person over here who's able to give me cash, and then I can use it to this. I can liquidate this. I have equity invested in this, enough of it to pull out from, and then I have a home equity loan. I don't know what I'm like. There's so many different situations people come up with, and I can see, okay, if this were the case, well, how much financing are you looking to get? So it just depends. There are a lot of details for acquisition loans, but they can get done. Now, those are like the most vigorous, like volatile. It's up there with like advances, because there's so many of them, but not a lot of them really go through and get funding. Everybody wants an acquisition loan. Not everybody gets one. And not everybody is willing to adjust to alternatives to how to get that money. Like if an SBA doesn't work, then we can get creative and do some other form of creative financing with personal loans, installment loans, credit lines, a combination of a multitude of them. And then that can be far enough to help you. And then there are other things, credit facilities, WISE, and the list goes on and on. Converting your ghost kitchen into retail storefront, nice. and that's next door. What is the best SBA loan to go for, or CDFI? Excuse me. So good question. So I would recommend definitely the SBA 7A loan. I know there's CDFIs and more being pushed. I don't want to say the 504 loan, especially with CDCs, but definitely this would fall underneath, especially with the CDFI. I would say with your specific situation and what I'm hearing, I would say it's SBA 7A loan, especially if it's in the restaurant space, if it's anything retail related. Those are more SBA 7A type of situations. It's like the commercial real estate deals that I'm doing now. It's not best to go through a traditional real estate lender at this time because of rates. I would say it's better to do it through an SBA 7A CRE loan, and that's the majority of where all of the deals going, the deal flow is going right now. Now it can change as the market picks up and where we go into, but a lot of the commercial real estate deals on that. But not to go far off on a tangent, I would definitely say SBA 7A. I fulfill on those, and again, I'm a broker. I only get what you percentage of what gets funded. SBA loans probably 1.5 to 2 or 1%. It's not a huge significant difference, but to me, again, it's about me helping. It's about me showing you the right lender. You can't just go to the SBA site, and not because I don't want you to, and it's because it's going to better benefit me. No, it's supposed to be better to go off and do it in an in-house setup and with the right in-house. You can go and do it somewhere else, and they have different credit committees, and they don't have the right underwriters. They don't have people who know your industry. They probably give you higher rates, lower amounts of financing. So you have to really know who or what team to work with. And I have a lot of SBA 7A loan deals right now underway. If I go under my portals here, I can track everything, see everything. I have the documentation. Plenty of them have already gotten funding. Some of them are coming up now. Some of them will be as early as January because those will be submitted a little bit later. Nonetheless, get prepared before wintertime, and you won't be kicking yourself thinking, okay, the rates just increased. I'm not getting a better term. And if you're that client who can even get that, that's another topic. So it depends. That's a good question. And I'll come back up here to Henry. So the SBA 7A loan is preferential because of the type of financing you can get. There's a lot more flexibility. 504 land/real estate/commercial property. Of course, you want to have owner-occupied property. Yeah, we can work in get land, get ground-up construction, and then move that into commercial property mortgages. I do that all the time. And let me tell you, I applaud those of you who are on it. Some people are liars. Some people show up and they go, "Yeah, I'm busy," and you can submit to you the paperwork. Don't give me that crap. And I'm not dumb. I went to school. Academically, I'm not dumb. I'm not a salesperson. I'm like a normal person. I'm a consultant/broker, and I'm not somebody to fool with. I'm very kind, but don't confuse my weakness for, or how do they say that? Don't take my kindness for a weakness or something like that. Yeah. And I've said it multiple times. But yes, SBA 7A loans better for more industries that can get approved for. You can use it as working capital. Purchasing equipment, you can do it for any kind of like consolidating refinance setup when you get to that point. Inventory, business loan acquisitions under the right lender, under the right amount, you can get qualified for a business loan acquisition. Some do up to $350, no more than that. Others will do up to about $2 million or so in this market, $5 million, and then what you can get guaranteed and up to 90% financing on a lot of those situations. And so I just do a lot of the numbers. I'm a math guy on top of systems. That's how my mind works. But yeah, a lot more industries can get approved. It is more flexible with payments, and you can get up to 10 years in working capital with real estate, up to 25 years. We could do SBA 7A commercial real estate properties, owner occupied. Don't do it for a real estate investment, for apartment complexes, single family, multifamily, and a variety of other things that come into the picture. But I can get more specific with you in terms of what your specific situation is and how do I schedule a consultation. I recommend, first and foremost, as I've said here to Henry, and I applaud you, Henry, again, thank you. You know what's coming. In my bio, first button, click, fill out the funding submission form in my email. I evaluate, analyze, I give you a proper response back via email. Simple. And in that email, you can literally get what you need to get done with submitted. I have 1.73 million deals right now going on where people haven't even had a phone call with me, because it doesn't necessarily need to be a phone call. Sometimes for clarity, sometimes for you need to share with me your growth and expansion project or projects because you couldn't easily say it over an email. It's too much. I get that, but not in all cases is that always going to happen. So when I share with you this email that's very in-depth, go through it. The top is going to be your best funding option. The one underneath that, you'll see a couple more differentiations. That one doesn't work for you, skip it. This one doesn't work, skip it, go to the next one. And then at the end, I'll say combined credit lines with maybe an unsecured term loan, or we can look to do this. And then in 3 months, once you have business credit established or you get your revenue here with the money you're using now, and maybe you didn't finish your term. Maybe you had a 9-month term and you didn't pay it off early. You had a cash advance and you raised your revenue in 3 months. You already had the business credit. So you meet the credit requirements. Now you have the revenue. And then guess what? We can look at consolidating that underneath an express or standard loan. So now you're in better position 3 months down the road. And guess what? You were still using business credit. And at the same time, you're using credit lines. I practice what I preach myself. I don't have my wallet on me, but if I were to have it here, I'd show you the business credit cards, the personal credit cards, and making sure you are credit monitoring everything. You are associated with all of that, because if you don't know what you're tracking, you don't know where you are going wrong. QuickBooks, whatever it is, anything. So fill out that form. And then what I recommend too, you might get presented with a consultation. Now, I do Facebook consultations. So if you don't have one, we might do a workaround somewhere else. I do that initially because everybody wants to suck up my energy and time. And I want to make sure it's being used energy and time effective. I'm a very, very punctual person. And I do not get happy with somebody spending way too much time on something, or it's never going to turn out to be like, okay, they say one thing and they don't do this. It's like, I don't do that. I don't play that game. I'm not your parent. And I shouldn't have to be continuously emailing. I can see when people look at emails. And if you need a time, and I have software like that you can actually get online. It's open for people. But I don't have time. If you're looking at something and you go, okay, I needed a day or two and you couldn't communicate that with me, I'm okay. It would have been better if you did, but it's okay. Okay, 3, 4, 5, boom, boom. I'm like, do I have to be that person? I'm going to follow up with you via email. Don't think I'm going to be calling you. Now, if it's at the offer stage and it's like, what's going on here? Like, I won't pressure you. Just know that I have to follow up. And if you're going to put me in a position where I have to call you like that, I don't want to be working with you. If you will put me in a position like I did the other day where I had to call a person once every 2 or once every other day because they have an offer and it can expire. It's very urgent. They didn't answer their phone. It really, really, I don't want to say it frustrated me. I don't get frustrated easily. I'm very patient, but do not do that to me or to anybody. Do not ever do that. That is disrespectful. That is being unaccountable. That is being unresponsible. And I don't care if that person is doing $1 million like they were doing or $2 million. I could give a damn if you're doing $2 million a month, because I care about who you are. I don't care about, first, your business is important to me. That's what's most important. I get that. But even more, who you are. I want to know, who am I working with? Who's Jerry? Who's Henry? Who's Sally? Are they going to run when it gets hard? Or are they going to at least provide feedback? I'm not saying take an offer. I'm saying, will you stand up and give feedback when it matters? Because you're just running away from your problems, only going to apply for other things. If you can't get through the thick of things now, how are you going to get through the thick of things when you have financing? You go to a bank, you can't get a bank loan. Oh, yeah, I'll let you do what you want to do. Just go ahead and get back to me in 3 years from now. And yeah, I'll say, take time to look over your offer, and can you get back to me within the next 1 or 2 days? Because I probably would have told you before, the lender needs to move their money, and they're heavily considering putting a contract for you, and they've already looked through everything to know that this is the best. And I'll communicate to you, who are we working with and what's going on. But not, oh, I just started an application. I have a blog post right now, if I could show you guys, and I added to it today even more. Oh man, I put on that blog post that people, like thousands upon thousands per month, see it. Now, who applies, that's a different question. But underneath those buttons where I say, hey, if you're ready to start your application, click here, after everything they've been given. But I say in red underneath, an outline, Literally, like the gist of it, I say, do not waste my energy and time. You're getting the best with me. Will you get to give me your best is another question. Now, I'm not saying that you need to put all this energy and time into one thing, because you can be doing multiple things at the same time. Just know I'll be taking care of you. But hey, John, we're at this part of the underwriting. I need this other part of the documentation. Can you supply it to me? A guy right now the other day, I don't even know where he's at. He was responsive for day in and day out. He was responsive like that. Boom, boom. He's probably trying to get the documentation over to me, but I still haven't heard from him in 2 to 3 days. And so you go from being like this, aprovecho, which is meaning get on it, to, no, you know. And if it were me, guess what I'm doing? Oh, Henry needs a response from me. Hi, Henry. I'm still looking over documents. I'll get back to you maybe in the next 1 or 2 days. So I'll get back to you here soon. Better than nothing. Oh, hey, I'm not interested at this time, but we can talk in 3 months from now. Boom, perfect. Not this. Like I had a person not too long ago. Where did they go for 2 months? And we knew each other, like personally and in business. And I'm like, what's going on here? So I don't devote that energy and time to people who waste that. I'll come back and help you if you like are there and need it, and will show up. But don't expect me to give you 110% when you're only giving me 1%. So let me come up here. I think I've exceeded time. I have to get going at 3. I'm going to be somewhere. So that hopefully answers your question, daddy, daughter. And so you can go to the bio. And for anybody else in here watching, if you're getting value too, please give it a thumbs up. I would have told you to share it with others. I usually forget that. We're at the end of this video, but feel free to share it with others. I know some of you have already. Appreciate you. Thank you for the fire. Thank you, Henry. And you are too. You're bringing the fire, man. And it shows me that you are a listener. People talk. You hear me talking, but I'm a listener. I'm an introvert. And it's hard for me to be on video. Like you could see my hands, like my body tenses up, and it's just a skill set that I've learned, but I'd rather be behind the scenes, doing the writing, doing the system creating. But I do a lot of it. I do the brokering. I do everything. And my knowledge in this industry has been up here. And if you talk to other brokers and agents, you have to be very careful about what they're giving you. And I see it all the time. And I go, I'm going to give you something that makes sense. I'm not going to give you something that's going to only make them money, and that's what they're trying to do. Appreciate you. Thank you for saying that. Appreciate that. Yeah, people, not everybody, but I know that people do. They will take me for granted. And it isn't because they dislike me. It's just that they don't know me yet. Like in this, I haven't told you guys my story. I know that if I told my story, my background, if I went into, and I'm not going to spend time on that now, excuse me, that makes for a better personal connection. But for me, it's about making sure I can fulfill on all aspects. It's not just the business. Like I want to make sure I'm working with the right person, and who are they, and what are they interested in, what are their hobbies, and so forth. And I was talking to a guy yesterday from California in the Los Angeles area. I told him I was used to live, and I grew up in Orange County, and a small world around that area. But yeah, it's a pretty much amount of insightful information in what I shared with him yesterday. I told him I got goosebumps over the phone because of what he had said, and it had stuck to me. It resonated because that's a person I'm going to go through the wall for. Definitely. That's a person who I know is humble. That's a grateful, humble, trustworthy, honorable type of person. And I could tell right away like that. Over one word, one breath, I can really sense who I'm working with. I'm a loyal person. You're going to get the best out of me. But if I see something over here, don't be surprised. Exactly, Henry. You're right on point. Let me say this out loud for everyone. There is nothing worse than to submit a whole bunch of paperwork, a package, and you don't get an update. So it's one thing that I get an update from my underwriter or underwriters, the lender. But yes, when I don't get an update from the person I'm trying to help with. And that at that point, I'm looking for feedback. Like we're at this stage, what more would I need? What am I going to have to do? Like, just make it effortless. No friction, please. No friction. When we go into something, I don't want friction. No, don't do that. I have 3 other businesses I got to run. If you run multiple businesses, you know this. Don't do this to me. I don't want to be there like your daddy or your mommy having to, oh, let me just pat you on the back and say, hey, you can show up tomorrow. Hey, if this were important enough for you, even if you were sick, guess what you would do? You would take a little bit of your time and day to do something. Even if that's not letting me know about it, at least taking that step. This is very important. This is money we're talking about, and it's your business. But it's more than a business. It's your personal development and having a stronger mindset. Appreciate you. Thank you, Henry. And I don't want to go too far into I guess I was going to speak a little bit on the story side. I'm running out of time here, but I've been in your position looking for financing, starting from complete scratch. Back then, when I was working my 9 to 5, I was in a more logistics/business role. I had a person in front of me who wouldn't retire. He was an ex-engineer, hardware engineer. I had to take his role. I was going to. And his wife said, just keep working. And he came back one day and said, yeah, I think I'll be here for another year or so. He's supposed to retire, take on his role, do more business and analytics and more management with ordering and different software services within that company. But that didn't come to fruition. And I had my roles where I was working hard data-wise, mentally, on the computer, and I was also working physically. That was a role where it was logistics, like they were short. So I had days were slow in the beginning, and then over a year or so in, it like picked up. And so I had to take media, and I had to stock things. I had to take things from the logistics center, the shipping center, and I had to bring them in, and I had to keep track of the inventory. I had to do a lot of things, and they didn't, give me the right pay, and it was just like I was undervalued and so much. And the company ended up going down under. At the time, though, I was already looking for something different. I didn't want to go back to school to finish another year, but I have university and community under my experience, and I have a lot of certifications, confined space, forklift certifications, a lot more. I was like, do I go back? Do I take that trade, or do I go into like a true bankroll now? Or I went to school for chemistry. I wanted to become a chemical engineer. I was good at chemistry. I was good at math. They didn't interest me as much in the engineering world, and it's not like I found it hard. It wasn't appealing to me in the way my brain works. And so I did the calculuses, I did the chemistry, the physics for some time, the economics, micro, macro, statistics. I took those. I took plenty of courses. So I'm well-rounded, not only in college, but I'm also well-rounded in the job world. I worked manufacturing, I worked construction, very high-risk position in my younger 20s. Then I did manufacturing with my pops, who then moved from Washington back to Orange County with me, or he was down there. He came in after I was already there. Worked underneath in the aerospace company and production. I've done roles like that, warehousing, retail. And it's just not because I was bouncing around. I was stable in the majority. It's just you got to figure it out. Like, things happen, and then you have to readjust, and you have to do things, and it just sucks. And so you try to find a way to create your own business, and that's what I started doing one day at lunch. I was sitting at my desk, and literally I had a ham and cheese sandwich, just any regular ham that you would find at like a Walmart, and just the yellow cheese, right? Processed cheese in my sandwich. No guacamole, no lettuce, just a very plain one. I think I was rushed the night before to make it myself, so I didn't make myself that time. And so I have chips, Doritos, just taking a bite, and then I get a message from my friend on my Snapchat app. Literally, I was sitting at my desk where the lights are like so bright, but it's so dark in there at the same time because we were at the bottom level of 3. And I look at my phone, I get a notification. I open it up. Why is he messaging me? And then I see that he responded back to a teriyaki meal that I had the night before. Very good. And he goes, hey, how are you doing? And I go, hey, I've been doing great. How about yourself? And, I've always been positive, but I was inside of me, something was boiling, when you have that. He goes, well, I'm running a trucking company. I'm in transportation. And so that kind of got me the gears running a little bit. He goes, I've heard of a way of making passive income. You can start your own digital marketing agency. You can do affiliate marketing. There's e-commerce. So I got into that one day. I literally got home. I threw my backpack next to the floor steps in the front, literally slammed the door shut. You can hear it literally echoing, even though there's no echoing that comes from it that day. It did. And then around the corner, I peeled to my left, where then my eyeballs came up, and I looked at my laptop sitting on my counter, literally with two hands, grabbed it, turned around in like one little turn, and like I was doing that whole like pass the ball back thing. And I put it on my kitchen table, which is not too far from me, and I started researching, and I figured out ways, started a digital marketing agency in time, still run that in a certain way. And then I have affiliate marketing. I went into the health space. I help people improve their health through back pain. I had some of my own, and then I got more interested in it. It became more of a passion, and I learned how different supplements, different proteolytic enzymes, fibrin. I got very deep into it, and I just love the chemistry behind things, and I always had that chemistry mind. That's what kind of pushed me to do it more. But yeah, I started helping people with that, understanding pain relief creams. I even have the seats right now. Like my other one's not behind me, but I have the seat cushion, the lumbar seat cushion down below here, and it's for the tailbone. I know how it all works. I did that for a while. I still have those running. And then I got into affiliate marketing, did a hybrid of the back pain space with e-com, and then I went back to just a blog affiliate / other types of products and digital products model. And then later on, I got into loan brokering, and this is what I ultimately wanted to do. But I wanted to do a lot of that first, and then finally, when I understood how to leverage my business and businesses and how to get financing in what ways, how to go from sole proprietors to LLCs and so forth, that's where the whole world opened up to me. And I went, damn, I really missed out. I wish I would have done this 8 months ago. I wish I would have done this a year ago. I wish I would have spoken to a business loan broker. Like, even if I didn't have the revenue that I wanted, what I would have been doing, guess what I would have been doing? I would have been looking for someone who would show me who's the best lender for this, who's the best underwriter for that. It's not about applying. I'm not going to start naming those companies, but those don't work the best. Especially with those types of marketplaces, there's people bidding to show up in front of them. If they had their own marketing team, don't you think they would be able to do it themselves? Probably they do, but they're going to leverage that brand to show in front of them. That doesn't necessarily mean they are best. And then they're going to be shopping your information. How are they shopping your information? To finally get you the best lender, the best service. I've been in this so long. It's happened to me. So I've been in this position, and it's not necessarily fun to go through. There's nights where I couldn't even sleep, let alone building my businesses. I couldn't sleep. Oh, if I told you all the stories of building things through WordPress and a lot of stuff that I was doing, funnels, you guys wouldn't even think that was true. So let me come up here. But yeah, you're right on that, Henry. And that kind of took me off on a tangent. And then, yeah, I appreciate you for saying that. I try to handle myself accordingly. I'm a very punctual person and disciplined. Awesome. Appreciate you. Thank you. And I'll look out for it. Let me see if I have it right here. I saw somebody submit one. There it is. I see the notification yellow sign on the bottom right. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I do see that one in here. I see multiple ones being submitted. Appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, I care. Like, people say you should only work with Hispanics because you're Hispanic. No, I grew up in Orange County, Hispanic. I'm Salvadorian, half Mexican American, and so it's not how things work. And although I'm fluent, I have to decline that. Somebody was trying to get me to do a partner video. Don't know who. Let me see here. If your revenue is not super high yet and your credit is not the best, what can I be doing now to get ready? Good. Oh my, that's the question I've been waiting for. Hallelujah. Take me to Hawaii now. But usually I answer this question. I ask the question myself and then I'll answer. So if your revenue is not super high, I kind of said this earlier, but it's about, if you figured out already like why your revenue is not so high. I mean, we don't have to start there, but if you don't know that yet, figure out how do you get to your goal of what profitability you want to meet. And then you just got to work backwards. When I look at financials, I look at profit and loss statements and everything. I work with business owners, not only on getting them financing, but because I know the digital stuff, I'll say, well, if your products and services are these, well, what's your highest generating service or products? Why do you have 100 different things you service, but that one, you could be scaling it? You already have clientele. You just have to figure out how to, if not get more, how do you have a long-term value of that customer? Maybe you give them a different product. Maybe there's a different service like dentistry. They bring you in for an initial cleaning and then they take you in for a consult on, getting braces. And then after that, maybe it's something bigger, a root canal, or the list goes on. And now you're paying like $10,000. And so that's how they keep you coming back for that one person. So you have to figure out, do you have a product or service you can scale? How can you use marketing and advertising effectively, organic and paid? And then focus on that. Focus on what works. And then boom, boom, boom. You look at it and go, this is my return on my investment this month. We can move this up for another 3,000 to 5,000 if I raise my campaign budget, or if I continue to seek out a X and Y amount of people, then Z will be my result. What's my reactants? What's my products? So what I would be doing to answer that, I know I went off a little bit tangent there, is just making sure you understand those, making sure you understand the positioning you want to be in. Because what's super high to you is super high to somebody else. So again, that goes back to that. Where do you want to be in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months time? And are you doing those day-to-day return on investment activities? Not financially first, but your day-to-day activities. Secondly, your financial activities. What are those results producing to you? I have a calendar right here. What are my ROI activities? What are my ROI finances? And I look at it and I go, okay. And then I come back to the end of the week, and then I come back to the end of the month, and then I see the end of the quarter before the quarter ends, and then I look at my goals, my profit and losses, and I look at everything and I go, what can I maximize here? What could I have done differently? So it's always asking yourself those things and having the right services and products and team behind you. Leverage a team. And that's how you do things in the meantime. Can you have people a part of your business that can do better than you at a certain thing, at a task? Or you do better. Like, I can't have somebody do my questionnaires because I absolutely do it best. I can train somebody. They won't be as efficient to me. I can train a writer like I've done before, but they won't be as efficient as me. And so just figuring out, what do you need to free up that if you gave them that skill set, they can also produce, or and if not, produce more of it. Something you don't like to do, make sure you hand it off to them. Like creating thumbnails, creating this and that. I know speed and energy and time is best used. And if you team up with somebody who has those skill sets and they know how to bring you up to that next level, that's all what it's about. So it's probably for you seeking out the right team and the right person. Until I figured that out, that's where I got to. I went from here. I was already there. Then I got to there in my businesses. And then if it's a form of credit repair, I have resources on this. So when you fill out the questionnaire form, I will give you those resources like business credit building, personal credit videos that I have, credit repair if you need that, credit lines. There will be a lot of resources you can use. And I'm going to try to come out with video content too, more of it on like the profitability stuff and then reverse engineering that. Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing? Hey, I've seen your information. I will get back to you as well as those of you in here. Of course, I'm here now, so I can't really get to all that at the moment. Yeah. So now let me come up here. And that is a yes. What scares you the most? The rejection? Yeah, with my 6-step pre-approval lending checklist, that mitigates the risk of that to an extent. But the fear of rejection comes solely from just misunderstanding, not having the right knowledge. You might be thinking, you hear this thing and you're not sure of it, or it has to be that way. And then you hear somebody else over there telling you this. You're like, where do I go? That's why you have to be careful about who you speak to. And that will help you. Definitely. It helped me. Like when I figured out there's more to this than like, oh, I didn't have to have business credit established for this, or I didn't have to have it for that. So then what do they look at? Why did I get denied? And so, just depends on what you're looking at. Revenue-based, credit-based. If you're looking at a line of credit lines, business credit cards, they weigh heavily on personal credit. I mean, it's probably just as simple as making sure you clean up anything that's derogatory, anything showing up, with late payments. What do you dispute? What can you remove and withdraw? So don't forget withdraw. And there's so much more. Hey, we have Bob in here. I'm doing good. How are you doing? You want to apply for an SBA real estate loan, Santos? Got it. Yeah, and I'm doing plenty of those right now. So right now is the time to get in, especially for the SBA real estate loans. Those are booming. Yeah, bio, link click, and what I would do, yeah, so there's the first one. There's a business questionnaire form, but I want you to look lower, and then it'll say real estate submission form or similar, middle or towards the bottom. Click there, and you can fill in the details for like property-wise. And this is SBA 7A commercial real estate, usually. So if it's something different than that, we'll probably end up having to go more of a traditional route or untraditional route. But if you have those things in mind and lined up, there'll be the real estate financing form that you can look down below, fill that out, give me more details as in liquid assets, property type, etc., valued at, and then I can look at more scenarios like LTCs, LTVs, ARVs. There's so much I can do. DTI, personal/business, or a combination of the two. Down payments of 10% for commercial real estate properties and so much. But yeah, fill that out. You can also fill out the business loan form. You can do the two. So if you have a business, this is what I would recommend. You can fill out the business loan form at the top and then fill out the real estate form, because I can submit two different things to you when I reply back to them. And in the real estate one, I can show you just solely real estate. For the business loan, you might say I need a business loan for real estate, and that's fine. But you can, in an additional note section, tell me I need working capital for this. It's not just real estate, but what kind of real estate? You can be more specific with me on that. But yeah, I'll show you different scenarios. I'm working on like 3 to 4, 1.7, 1 million, a bit less than that. And I have a variety more of SBA 7A commercial real estate loans in the mix. Have had them done in the past. Will continue to have them done in the future through myself and my credible lenders, my preferred lenders. And I have the best, whether it's a banking solution or a non-banking solution, I work with the best. Whether it's a subdivision of them, somebody that was acquired through a bank or not, or it is a non-banking lender, and I'll go through those circumstances of, why it is best that way for you and as opposed to somebody else's situation. There's so much. So, 30 more seconds. Anybody watching the World Cup? The game's at 2 a.m. and 5, 8, and then 11? How do you wake up for the 2 a.m. game? Pacific Standard Time. Am I supposed to stay up the whole night and sleep 1 hour? But no, I didn't do that. I did wake up today though at, 5? And then I really got up like at 6. Tried to sleep in. I was tired. And then I watched some of the game. Watched the France game. Mexico played. Denmark. And then Argentina losing to, I believe it was Saudi Arabia. Good job, by the way, there. But, yeah, what a day. Okay. So I believe that'll conclude this video. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please refer to the bio description for all other information. Appreciate you once more, truly. And I will get back to those of you who have submitted questionnaire forms, emails. There's just so much on my plate that I will be getting back to. All right. That's everything for now. Talk soon. Bye.